Welp, y'all, we are back, day 79 of the story. Now, I tell you what, I had got this little microphone thing, and I did that because the way I hold my phone means it doesn't make good sound. Well, guess what? Didn't make good sound with a little microphone either. I found I overpowered it. If you've ever heard somebody overpowering a mic, it didn't matter where I put it. I put it out 3 feet in front of me on a stick. Still overpowered. Let's get into this story, though, and see if we can't just read a story the way it is, all right? Now, we know that when we were going on here, Jesus was trying to tell them something, and they was struggling to hear it. We had just got done where they were talking about what was happening the night that he had given Judas to go do what you're going to do, but do it quick, he said. He knew that we're getting at the time, so we're about to that time, y'all. Let's see where we get in this story. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." Don't use absolutes, Peter. You're going to be in trouble. I do it sometimes too. Trust me, it's trouble. And that's when you're going to have it happen, right? "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples said the same. Then Jesus went with his disciples to the place called Gethsemane. It's Gethsemane, I'm sure, something like that, y'all. But they definitely, it looks like Gethsemane. Words, I hate them. And he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." Jesus was suffering. He knew this was going to be hard. He was taking on every sin of every person ever. Whew. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. Oh my goodness. He just said, "Help me watch. Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" That's what he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." An angel of heaven appeared to him and strengthened him, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed a 3rd time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, "Who is it you want?" He knew. "Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "I am he," Jesus said. And Judas the traitor was standing there with them. When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. Again he asked them, "Who is it you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they said. Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he. If you were looking for me, then let these men go." This happened so that the words he had spoken would be fulfilled. "I have not lost one of those you gave me." Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his ear. The servant was named Malchus. Yeah. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" And he touched the man's ear and healed it. Yeah, we'll get back to that if we got time. Then Jesus said to the chief priests, the officers of the temple guard, and the elders who had come for him, "I am leading a rebellion that you have come," or am I? He said, "Am I?" Not "I am." He said, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come with swords and clubs? Every day I was with you in the temple courts, and you did not lay a hand on me. But this is your hour when darkness reigns." Soldiers of the Jewish religious establishment had come to place Jesus under arrest, and Jesus gave himself up. He could have toppled his foes with a word. He had the power to call the vast armies of angels to rescue him, but instead he surrendered. The disciples knew something very bad was happening, and they ran away to save their own skins. Jesus was left alone with his capturers. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance, right up to the courtyard of the high priest. He entered and sat down with the guards to see the outcome. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus. They're looking for false evidence. Come on, y'all. Bad on you. You know that's a sin. Yeah, so they could put him to death. But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Finally, 2 came forward and declared, "This fellow said, 'I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days.'" The high priest stood up and said to Jesus, "Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you?" But Jesus remained silent. The high priest said to him, "I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." "You have said so," Jesus replied. "But I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" "He is worthy of death," they answered. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, prophesy to us, Messiah. Who hit you?" Peter was not the timid sort. His normal reaction to trouble was to wrestle it to the ground, not run from it. Quite naturally, then, he was the one to follow the soldiers back to the high priest's house and wait for the outcome. Maybe he was dreaming up Plan B when a few people took him by surprise. And when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter sat down with them. A servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him and said, "This man was with him." But he denied it. "Woman, I don't know him," he said. A little later, someone else saw him and said, "You also are one of them." "Man, I am not," Peter replied. About an hour later, another asserted, "Certainly this fellow was with him, for he is Galilean." Peter replied, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about." Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. And Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him: "Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times." And he went outside and wept bitterly. Early in the morning, all the chief priests and the elders of the people made their plans on how to have Jesus executed. So they bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate the governor. When Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned, he was seized with remorse and returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders. "I have sinned," he said, "for I have betrayed innocent blood." "What is that to us?" they replied. "That's your responsibility." So Jesus threw the money into the temple and left. Then he went away and hanged himself. The Jewish leaders brought Jesus to Pilate, who had governed the region of Judea for Rome for 4 years. Historical records reveal that he was no friend of the Jews. He frequently ordered soldiers to beat and kill Jewish protesters, and he had no compunction, I'm gonna guess compunction about he didn't have no problem offending Jewish leaders by placing symbols of pagan Roman worship in Jerusalem. Yeah, this guy used big words too. On this Friday morning of Passover week, the Jewish leaders asked him to judge Jesus as a subversive threat. Now Pilate was caught. If he refused to condemn Jesus, Jewish accusers would portray him as no friend of Caesar, a very dangerous public image. If he agreed to crucify Jesus, he'd be acting against his own judicial instinct, and perhaps worse, caving to those who he despised. He needed to question this prisoner himself. Pilate then went back inside the palace, summoned Jesus, and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Is that your own idea?" Jesus asked. "Or did others talk to you about me?" Am I a Jew?" Pilate replied. Your own people and chief priests handed you over to me. What is it you have done?" Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders. But now my kingdom is from another place." "You are a king then," Pilate said. Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into this world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of the truth listens to me." "What is truth?" retorted Pilate. With this he went out again to the Jews gathered there and said, "I find no basis for a charge against him. But it is your custom for me to release to you one prisoner at the time of Passover. Do you want me to release the King of the Jews?" They shouted back, "No, not him. Give us Barabbas." Now Barabbas had taken part in an uprising. Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. The soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head. They clothed him in a purple robe and went up to him again and again, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they slapped him in the face. Once more Pilate came out and said to the Jews gathered there, "Look, I am bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no basis for a charge against him." When Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, Pilate said to them, "Here is the man." Whew, we're going to give it a stop there, y'all. We went too long tonight. It's okay. It's okay. We're into some good stuff. Jesus is about to go to the cross for your and my sins, for each of our sins, right? And like I said, we were sitting there and we were looking. And as we were going through all of this wondrous stuff in this wonderful book that we see here, whoo, look at what was going on here. When Peter cut the ear off of the dude, right? He could have left the ear off, but guess what? They'd have had evidence that Peter had done a crime. Jesus fixed the ear to where it was like it never had anything happen. They could have hauled Peter in with him if he'd have left it like that. But Jesus made it like nothing ever happened. And when he went to the cross, he took my sin and he covered me with his blood. And to the Father up in heaven, it looks like I never did anything wrong. I look like a saint, not by my work, but by what Jesus did on the cross for me. Man, y'all, that is good. Hey, I am going late again. Sorry about that. I do love y'all. I pray y'all have a blessed day. Man, it is good to be on this journey reading the story with you. I hope those of you that are here, we're getting close. Look, Jesus is about to take our sin and nail it to the cross. Come on. Gotta get excited about that. You have been freed by his work, not by yours. And he did it for you already. Whether you accepted it or not, don't matter. He done it for you. So that's a great thing, and you should be able to get excited about that. If you ain't excited about it, it means you just ain't figured out that you needed it yet. Still thinking you might be good enough to get by on your own. Spoiler alert. You ain't, I ain't, the best person you know ain't. Takes Jesus for all of us. So, all right. Give it a like, a share, subscribe, turn on the bell guy, get Al Gore dancing out there. Yeah, we want all that stuff. Yeah, that'll be good. I love y'all. Have a blessed day. Bye.